We are following breaking news out of Washington. You just heard from Major Garrett there. President Trump has removed Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Noem has spent the past 2 days on Capitol Hill as she has faced growing backlash over her job and handling of the Department of Homeland Security and particularly Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis. The president announced she would be transitioning to a new position, given the title Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas, which will apparently head up a new security initiative focusing on the Western Hemisphere that the president will give more information on this weekend. We should mention that Secretary Noem is delivering the keynote address at the Sergeant Benevolent Association Major Cities Conference. In a post on Truth Social, the president thanked Noem for her time leading DHS and announced he is nominating Oklahoma's Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin as the next DHS secretary. So let's bring back Nancy Cortez, CBS News chief White House correspondent. And Nancy, you were talking about this with Major, but let's go ahead and go into a little bit more detail here about really maybe what was the straw on the camel's back. And that was in one of the days of testimony, Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana asking Noem, how do you square cuts to DHS and contracts with the fact that you have spent $220 million running TV advertisements that feature you prominently in it? Noem replied that the president tasked her with getting the message out to the country and putting commercials out. If they were in the country illegally, they needed to leave. And clearly that was something the president took issue with.
Right, because she went a step further. And when she was asked, well, did the president know that these ads were going to cost $200 million? She said, oh, absolutely, he knew. And that's what the president is now telling advisors and reporters is incorrect. He said he didn't know how expensive it was going to be. But I do think, Lindsay, that while that was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think you could get a sense from more broadly the reaction to Kristi Noem in those hearings from not just Democrats, but from some Republicans, that she was really on thin ice. The fact that Tom Tillis of North Carolina was basically yelling at her, telling her she's a terrible leader and that she shouldn't be a cabinet secretary. The fact that John Kennedy, who's a big ally of the president, was willing to question her that aggressively about this ad campaign in the first place, all of that is a sign that they believed that she was pretty vulnerable and that even perhaps they believed that the president was okay with them putting her on the spot because he wanted to see how she would respond.
So this was almost like a test. I mean, why was the Tom Tillis interaction so significant to you if he's kind of been on the outs with the president and, in fact, isn't even running for re-election?
Yeah, I think it was simply the fact that he stated so clearly and forcefully what Republicans have said behind the scenes, which is that he just doesn't think that she is capable of leading such an important agency at such a delicate time. He just came out and said it. You know, he's been critical of the president before, but, you know, he was practically yelling at her. And, you know, and that wasn't the only controversy. There were also very aggressive questions put to Noem by Democrats, both in the Senate and then at a subsequent hearing in the House, about her relationship with Corey Lewandowski, who is kind of her right-hand man at the Department of Homeland Security, but who lots of signs point to her being in a romantic relationship with him as well. And she was put on the spot about that. Corey Lewandowski is someone who has a long relationship with the president of the United States, was a major player in his first bid for the White House. And yet there have been questions about how appropriate it is that she is working with someone who is, for all intents and purposes, a subordinate who she may also be in a romantic relationship with. So it was kind of the combination of all of that. And, you know, the clips of those questions at the hearing going viral that really hurt Noem, especially at a time when she was already under such scrutiny for the department's handling of the situation in Minneapolis, where 2 American citizens were killed.